Hello and welcome to the Stories of Northern Life from the Sault Ste. Marie Museum. It's your host, Mari, reading to you an episode written by Justin Brett, our research assistant here at the Sault Museum. This character we are going to talk about today was a Canadian politician and businessman who was active in Canada in the mid to late 1800s. He is notable for quite a number of accomplishments around the Algoma district, which obviously makes him very relevant to Sault Ste. Marie's history. This man was none other than Wemyss Simpson. If you don't know much about him, you hopefully will by the end of this episode. Wemyss Simpson, like many, was not born native of Canada. He grew up in London, England, from the year 1825, the youngest of 7 sons. He and his family seem to have been fairly well off, as Wemyss was educated in Eton, a boys' boarding school nearby. Following this, Wemyss traveled to Canada as a young man and found employment in the lower part of the country with the Hudson's Bay Company. He would remain part of the company for the next 24 years, 8 of which he spent as a chief factor, a significant position boasting a high salary. As part of his job, he would move to place, working in York Factory, Oxford House, Norway House, and Red River. Twice he was also stationed in Sault Ste. Marie, once from 1849 to 1851, and a longer period later from 1855 to 1865. Despite his busy life working for the Hudson's Bay Company, Wemyss found time for many other things. During his period, he found a wife, Annie Ironside, with whom he would have a very impressive 14 children, and also served a year as Sault Ste. Marie's postmaster during his second term here. Following his term with the Hudson's Bay, Wemyss would still find work, this time as a member of the House of Commons representing Algoma, the very first person to hold that position, in fact. Wemyss would be involved in further political movements. In 1870, he served as the guide and interpreter for the Red River Expedition, a group assembled to stop a rebellion in Manitoba by Métis leader Louis Riel, an incident where the Métis people formed an uprising against the Canadian government that would come to be known as our province of Manitoba, the land then known as Rupert's Land, after the governor of the Hudson's Bay Company, and had been purchased from the company by Canada in 1869. To make a long story short, eventually an agreement was negotiated that allowed the land known as Manitoba to be officially joined to the Canadian Confederation as a province. Wemyss Simpson also accepted the position of Indian Commissioner in 1871, in order to negotiate a treaty with the natives of Manitoba. Retiring in 1873 from public life, Wemyss would live the rest of his life in Sault Ste. Marie, which he seemed to grow fond of in his time there. His house, found today at 10 Kensington Terrace east of Upton Road, was an impressive piece of Georgian-style architecture, which still stands today as a designated heritage property site, and is the second oldest stone house in the Sault, just younger in age than the Ermitanger stone house. Wemyss passed away in March of 1894 at the Point of Comfort in Hampton, Virginia, but he was buried in Sault Ste. Marie Queen Street Cemetery, another heritage property, with 3 streets being named after him in recognition of his contributions, Wemyss, Simpson, and Upton. You can see that he had a great impact on this community. Thank you so much for listening, and come again next Thursday for another episode of the Stories of Northern Life.